Hi everyone, it's Jean from Total Tax and Accounting Inc. It's Sunday afternoon, so I'm dressed a little casual. I hope you forgive that, but I wanted to get this video done. And we're talking about who gets the kids in the context of who gets to claim the children on the 1040 tax return. So just when you thought the arguing is over with your ex-spouse because you got a divorce, tax time arrives and you've got a whole new set of issues. Who gets the kids? Well, most people rely on their divorce and they said, well, he gave that up to me or she gave that up to me in the divorce, so I get the kids. Well, bad news, the IRS does not recognize your divorce agreement and what it says. It's a state document and it's a federal government. They don't talk, they don't recognize that state created document. So that you might well have just put in the burn pile for tax season. Paying child support does not automatically mean you get to claim the child or the children. So what do we do at tax time? We have to determine where the child lives or lived during the tax year. You should be prepared to produce proof, wow, that's a lot of P's, of eligibility for earned income or child tax credits. So you're going to need to prove where the child lived, and the documents listed below will help show where the child lived. And so you might get something from your school, your church, your healthcare provider, your child care. There's a list there. Anything that's a reputable third party that can substantiate the address that the child resides at. If you're a non-custodial parent, which is really a term for the IRS, it means you're not the parent who has the child the most overnights. You may be asked to sign a Form 8332 releasing that exemption to the custodial parent. Blah, blah, blah. What that means is Sally and Bob are divorced. The kids live with Sally. Bob has to sign a form to release the exemption, so everybody is protected. What happens if there is a tie because they spent the same amount of time at each house? It's kind of impossible because there's 365 days and that's not divided equally, but for the sake of argument, we're going to say that there's a tie. And the IRS has implemented tiebreaker rules, and that is if the child lived with each parent for the same amount of time, the child is treated as qualifying child of the parent who had the higher adjusted income for the year. And I think that they do this for two reasons. I don't know it, but I'm going to suggest that they do it because if you have a higher income, it would make sense that you would provide the most amount of support. But I think secondarily, it's also because the higher your income is, the less you will benefit from the earned income tax credit and the child tax credit, and they'd prefer to not give that out. But that's just me editorializing, so don't take that to court. Now, the exemption for kids phased out, or any dependent phased out in 2018 due to the new tax laws. But there still are actually three, but the two most important tax credits at stake are the earned income and the child tax credit. So it still matters whether or not you're going to claim that child on your return, or who's going to claim that child. There's also educational credits at stake, American Opportunity Tax Credit, and again, that will follow the child, that will follow to the return of the person who takes the child. So you have to have that person on your tax return to take advantage of that particular credit. So I guess the overall theme here is if your divorce says one thing, you're gonna get a gloomy face because it doesn't mean anything at tax time. Your overnights are going to get a smiley face. You're in smiley face territory with the most overnights because that makes you the custodial parent, and that's what the IRS is going to be looking at. And again, you're going to be able to prove that through the documents that we talked about earlier in the video. So a good tax preparer will really ask a lot of questions regarding this. It is not so much about trust or distrust, but as a tax preparer myself, I am subject to a lot of fines if it's determined that I didn't perform a due diligence check with you, up to $5,000. So I'm going to ask those uncomfortable questions, and I'm going to make you go get those documents so everybody's protected. So don't get offended when we have to ask questions that sound very intruding, like we don't trust you. So we're just protecting everybody, and these credits are worth a lot, and you want to make sure that everything's in order. If you have any questions, go ahead and post at the bottom of the video. Pop over to my blog at totaltax.pro, and I've got lots of information over there. All right, signing off. Thank you.